All right, guys, let's get foggy. Fog is such a beautiful, magical thing. As we looked at in the last tutorial, fog is great for helping us get exposure in dark places that are difficult to light. But what else is awesome about fog? Well, fog also creates a great sense of atmosphere and mood. Like this shot of Cordelia walking through these brambles. It wouldn't be nearly as great without the fog. And we looked at this shot in the last tutorial, but the fog does more than just help us with exposure. It also adds depth to the shot. Instead of seeing blackness going out to infinity, we now have layers of a foreground, layers in the middle ground where the fog is, and then darkness behind that. Now, it's not just a trick for tiny budget projects though. Notice how the fog in this scene from The Last Emperor adds to both the exposure and the mood considerably. The opening of Jurassic Park also uses fog for exposure and mood, but it's a completely different mood. Another benefit of fog is that it makes light rays visible. This is called volumetric light. Here's a good example of using fog to create volumetric light in Insidious. We also did this for the camera test with Bitsy, where we sat her on the counter and used a 650, which is a 650 watt RE tungsten Fresnel. We set up the 650 to light her from behind. Because of the fog, the light becomes volumetric and creates some really interesting shapes as she moves around. And fog isn't just for thrillers or horror movies. Here's another example of fog from the Oscar darling The Last Emperor. Notice the way the fog makes the light wrap around these characters as they dance. Now, often when shooting with fog, we'll put a grip or PA in charge of wrangling the fog. Here, our PA Joel uses a flag to wave the fog around. This dissipates the fog so it's less obvious, and it becomes more of kind of like a haze. I created a similar effect when I was the DP on Bry Troyer's short film, I Love You, Puppet Man, to create a dusty, creepy atmosphere. By the way, if you're just looking for this type of haze, you can actually get a haze machine instead of a fog machine. The big difference here is that haze machines tend to be much more expensive. From my experience, it's actually more expensive to rent a haze machine than it is to just buy a fog machine. Now, fog machines can be purchased for super cheap, starting at less than $40. But note that cheaper fog machines, like the one I own, tend to take a while to warm up and spit out fog, and they don't get much fog out before they have to take a break again. So remember that when you're planning for your shoot day. Fog is just incredible. It's one of my personal favorite tools. It's inexpensive to get and easy to use. It's great when you're low on the crew or gear you need to light a big shot in a dark place. But beyond that, it's also great for adding exposure, beauty, atmosphere, depth, or powerful light rays to a shot.